And hello and welcome everyone to the comic multiverse where the worlds of nerd meet. We are coming very close, Matt. We are in striking distance of that 100 episodes.
Wait, it's episode 79.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting very close. We owe that to not missing a show very often, I think.
I think so. I don't think we've missed a week since we started. I think there was a couple where we did pre-recorded stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Usually I always try and make it something. If I know we're not going to have a show, I try and put in a commentary or I try and put in something special. It's very rare that we don't have anything for Wednesday morning.
Yeah, yeah.
Hard to believe it's going to be quite a milestone when this show that you and I have been doing together hits that 100, because we've been on other shows that have hit 100 episodes.
Yeah, yeah.
But this is ours that we built at everything with nothing but, elbow grease and gumption and small amounts of cocaine.
Box of scraps in a cave.
We built this podcast in a cave with a box of scraps. I'm sure I've mentioned it in other episodes, but it was a scary 2 weeks there when, everything changed for us and we both struck out solo at the same time. It's like, oh, I don't even know if I can do a podcast anymore. Do people want a podcast anymore? Maybe I passed that. That lasted for 2 weeks. And then it just fell right back into it. It was like riding a bike. It was that easy.
Yeah.
But yes, everyone, welcome to the comic multiverse. I am Joel, and the man I've been talking to this whole time is Matt.
Hello, everyone.
We did a big Doomsday Clock guide video last week, along with our regular show, and thank you everyone for listening to that. It actually did better than my Doomsday Clock video. There was a guy in that video who said, man, I love these inter-channel collaborations, and I'm like, me and Matt collaborating is nothing. I'm happy you're happy, but I mean, we do a podcast together every week, right?
Yeah, it's our week that it's nothing new for us.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I'm happy you're happy, but I think your ceiling for collaboration is a little lower than mine. No. You see, all those podcasts didn't count as collaborations. You guys have to do that. This is something you did extra and outside. That's a collaboration. That was special. But yeah, everyone, this week, not a hell of a lot of news. We've been blessed or cursed, depending on how you look at it, the last couple weeks, with just an avalanche of topics and things to talk about and dig deeper into. Smaller smattering this week, but that's fine, because I get the feeling the real main event, the thing everyone's going to be super interested in this week, Matt, is for us to talk about the comics, and especially Doomsday Clock. We will be having a spoiler chat with that near the tail end of the episode.
Definitely.
What else did I want to say? I feel like I had other things to say. No, that was just, I mean, I guess we'll just get into it then. Oh, yeah, okay, no, I remember what I wanted to say. We were gonna do Punisher spoiler cast this week, everyone, but I need another week to finish it, because I'm one of those stupid people who watch a show with somebody, which means I'm not done this week, and I need another week to finish.
I make sure all these stuff that we do for work, I make sure I watch alone.
There you go. I mean, I might have to start doing that. I mean, I got a lot watched. I'm on episode 9. I was able to watch like 9 hours of it, but it's not enough.
Yeah, you're almost there, though.
Almost. I will say initial thoughts, though. Much like all the other Netflix shows, there are moments where it does feel kind of padded, where we kind of leave the Punisher for long stretches of time. But unlike Defenders and unlike Iron Fist, I actually like the B and C plots for this.
Yeah, they're actually really good, especially Micro's whole thing with his family and everything. It's probably one of the best arcs for a character I've ever seen on TV.
Micro, Lewis, Madani, it's all really well done. They're all, really well acted, really well thought of, and more importantly, the B, C, and even D plots do a lot to inform the overarching themes of the Punisher, and they match and they make sense.
Definitely, yeah.
Unlike, say, in Iron Fist, when they would keep cutting away to Wolf of Wall Street, Game of Thrones with the Meechin family. And I'm like, oh my god, I don't care. Why is no one punching anyone? Because, boardroom talk, this is my favorite part of any Iron Fist story. Here it actually made sense. So yeah, we'll save our overall thoughts for Punisher for next week when I've got a chance to finish it, and probably more people too who are equally slow watching. I know some people are like, oh no, don't spoil Punisher for me yet. I haven't finished watching Stranger Things season 2.
Oh jeez.
I know, right? Friggin' Netflix never gives you a break.
It doesn't. It doesn't. They just put on that Trailer Park Boys show, so I've been watching that.
See, I gave up on Trailer Park Boys like halfway into season 10, which is a pretty late way to quit a show, halfway into the 10th season after the third movie.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll tell you what broke it for me, and it's probably my thing uniquely as a Canadian who watched the show when it was like nothing and no one knew about it. If I may be a Trailer Park Boys hipster here for a moment, like, oh, I liked it before it was cool. I legitimately did. But the thing that broke it for me was in that season 10 when they show up on the Jimmy Kimmel show for a second, and I'm like, and it's dead.
Yeah, no, I agree with that as well. Like, and much like you, I watched it before it started getting cool and everything. And yeah, it like the last couple of seasons, they've just kept jumping the shark, just too much.
Which, again, to their credit, took them 10 seasons and 3 movies to jump the shark, and the actors taking complete and utter creative control over it, like actually buying the rights to it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like that, like one of those Muppets movies where it's like, oh no, the Muppets have control over the show. Kermit's gone now, and they're, all wallowing around in their worst comedic instinct. That's basically the Trailer Park Boys now. Also, the complete and total selling out to American interest, which, again, I don't blame them. They've become huge stars over the world now, and that's awesome, and it's continued their fame. But at the same time, too, it's like, oh, you're doing whole seasons outside the trailer park now, huh? Oh, you're going to Europe and America, and
yeah.
That seems like a betrayal of your basic concept. All right, but hey, you look to be having fun, so I mean, I guess that's all that matters, right?
Guess so.
Mm-hmm. You know who else is having fun, Matt? And he's going to be having a lot of fun. I'm just not sure for how long.
Who's that? I had a drink of water, sorry.
See, I've got you doing it now. I'm a thirsty boy who needs his liquid to keep my talkins. But yeah, the person who's probably going to be pretty happy is Jude Law, who we found out this week has been cast as Mar-Vell in the upcoming Captain Marvel movie.
Pretty cool. That's pretty good casting.
It is, isn't it? Like, I read that and I'm like, yeah, Jude Law is Mar-Vell. I can like him as soon as I see him, but then when he eventually goes away, because of course he's going to go away, I won't miss him that hard, much like the career of the real Jude Law. I liked him when he showed up, and when he disappeared, I didn't care.
No.
I won't miss him too hard. I just like the idea that they're incorporating Mar-Vell into the movie and be like, yes, our Captain Marvel is something of a legacy character, and we're going to pay homage to the history of the Marvel line.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It sounds like his role is going to be similar to, I guess, what Tony is to Peter and what Yinsen was to Tony.
Yeah, or even Mar-Vell in the cartoon when they basically did their version of the Kree-Skrull War, which is what the movie's going to be.
Yeah, that's going to be so cool.
I wonder, is he going to wear the original costume? Are they going to get him in the original Captain Mar-Vell costume? I hope so.
Maybe, because he at the moment he's just playing the Doctor, the undercover version of Mar-Vell. So maybe.
There's a lot of interesting places they could go with him. Hell, maybe audiences really like him and they don't kill him off or make him go out into deep space and be like, yeah, he can hang out, he can come back.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
We can grow the family and be like, yeah, we've got Mar-Vell, we've got Carol, we've got everybody. Shit, if they do a sequel and people like Jude Law enough, they leave that open to be like, ooh, in the sequel, Monica Rambeau should show up. Just to really mess with and confuse people, be like, wait, there was another female Captain Marvel? Yeah, there was, before Carol, actually.
yeah, but then they'd have to also set the movie in like the 70s or something, which would be pretty cool.
To make it make sense. But hey, it's going to be a bit of a prequel anyway. Be like, yeah, well, in this Marvel universe, 70s nostalgia and retro fashions came back for a minute. Or no, even better, she's a time traveler is what she is.
There we go.
She used her Marvel powers to time travel, and then, of course, obviously for the third one, although I don't know if I would see them doing this because they seem to have plans with her for TV, then obviously you work in Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, and she shows up for a little bit. She doesn't have to get her powers in the movie, but she can just show up for a minute.
There you go. And then that leads into, like, doing stuff with Inhumans properly.
Properly. I bet people didn't see that coming, where it's like, what's Inhumans, what's the one hope for Inhumans right now? Oh, well, if they did something with Miss Marvel. That's the one.
It could work. It could work.
Get back the actor who plays Black Bolt, and get back what is it, Lockjaw. That's all we need. Those are the ones people like.
Yeah, bring back the CGI dog.
Bring back the CGI. Well, again, the CGI dog Lockjaw plays a pretty strong and big part in Miss Marvel comics. Actually, the new Kamala Khan one. So that would be fine if the dog shows up and that's the one connection where it's like, oh, where are you from, space dog? Oh, it's a whole thing. It's about a season, no more.
Yeah, we don't talk about it.
But if you ever want to go meet Quake from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that would be just fine.
No, she's in space.
Oh, shit. Damn it.
That show starts back this week.
It is. We'll have to talk about that. I know some people were saying, like, hey, can we expect some more Cape TV episodes coming out because of all the new developments happening on TV? And to answer that question, yes, but you're going to hear it here. Cape TV will now be a segment of the comic multiverse. We could not reach a financially beneficial agreement for that show. I shopped it around to all the networks. No one wanted it. But that's okay.
It was a one-season show.
It was a one-season wonder, much like the Inhumans. Oh, man, but we made work you can be proud of. You can go back and listen to any of those episodes.
Yeah.
They're all re-listable. That's how we built the series, so you could revisit every individual episode, and it would be worthwhile. Man, if you want to hear us just cutting into Legends of Tomorrow, you can. If you want to hear us getting more and more disillusioned with Flash, you can. If you want to hear Matt praising Supergirl, you can. Speaking of Flash, this week's episode was actually really good, wasn't it?
What was? Oh, yes. This week's episode was very good. It's been a while since I watched it.
Mm-hmm. The Origins of the Thinker, which I gotta say, they did a really good job making him kind of sympathetic, making him a threat, and also making him very different from every other villain that the Flash has faced.
Yeah, I'm so glad that they kind of tied it in with the Flash's origins like the other villains, but he didn't get any speed powers out of it. In fact, he kind of got the opposite.
He did. He got quite fucked over. I like this idea, too, where it's like his motives were completely the other side of Barry. And in fact, they were arguably heroic. He wanted to uplift humanity and make everyone smarter, only it completely rebounded on him.
Yeah, and kind of fucked him over and made him a cripple.
It did. And it's funny, DeVoe, too, the way they write him, he's almost like a diehard villain because he fucks with Barry at work and be like, haha, you can't come at me because, if I get beaten up or if I stub my toe, everyone will think you did it. And I'm like, that's really clever, actually, to have a villain with a secret identity, too, and to explain, why doesn't the Flash just beat up this man in the chair and end everything?
Yeah, because if he did, he would be a kind of a dick.
He'd be a dick. Everyone would be like, God damn it, Alan, you beat up the man in the wheelchair. Why? You sick fuck. It's actually kind of funny, too, because when Singh is cursing out, like, Joe and Barry for being like, oh, you did this off hours, but, you still introduced yourself as cops and you overstepped your authority. And I'm like, oh, this is just the time he knows about they overstepped their authority as cops.
This is just one moment in 3-4 seasons worth of stuff that they've done that.
It's like, Jesus Christ, Singh, if that bugs you and if you think that's a horrible miscarriage of justice, then, man, you don't even want to know half the stuff they were doing. And it's great too because it really does feel like that never crossed Barry and Joe's mind before. They're like, oh yeah, what we're doing is actually a miscarriage of justice a lot of the time when we go out as cops to do this.
Yeah.
That episode was even better too because you forget that in the previous one they're like, okay, we're gonna go to DeVoe's house, we're gonna go there and we're gonna catch this guy once and for all, and they're going through the door, but everyone else was all around in the area with their science guns and everything else ready to jump them. I would love it if they heard the signal wrong, where it's like, it's him, get him, and then they do jump the guy in the wheelchair. Because Mr. Oh, I'm the thinker, I'm so smart, I see everything. Oh, you didn't see that coming, did you?
No.
You didn't see getting jumped. Oh, man. Legends was fun this week, too. Rory going back to Vietnam and hanging out with his dad.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
And
his dad's just as gruff as he is.
He's exactly like him in every single way. Shit, they make, again, continuing that Heatwave is weirdly the best character on that show, they actually make him more layered and more sympathetic than comic Heatwave has ever been at this point.
It's so strange that they chose, like, this is a character we need the audience to, like, fall in love with and like.
Absolutely. And it's so weird because like when I first saw him, like, oh, he's meeting his dad again. They're retreading like season one when Captain Cold met his dad, even right down to having a beloved character actor portray him. I'm like, ah, great, it's gonna be the same thing. Oh no, wait, he actually forgives his dad. Oh no, wait, he actually learns a lesson and grows as a person. Holy shit.
And the surprising thing was that they were like fighting Gorilla Grodd, and I
Yes.
didn't I remember hearing that he was going to be in the show. I just didn't think it was this episode.
What a great position for Gorilla Grodd too. I'm going to, manipulate a further conflict in frickin' Vietnam, and I'm gonna make myself Marlon Brando from Apocalypse Now.
That was so good.
I'm like, man, and like the actors even knew that, where it's like, oh, we thought it was Rambo, but now we're in Apocalypse Now. And I'm like, this is why Legends season 3 is great because the characters have now become like super aware,
Yeah, yeah.
where before they weren't. Now they're all incredibly super aware. But yeah, those were all pretty solid. And it's this week we get our Crisis on Earth X starting as well, right?
Yeah, in starting in Supergirl. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does look interesting. I'm all about it. I was surprised too, although I shouldn't be surprised, where it's like, oh, hey, the backbone of this big TV crossover event is going to be the Flash's wedding. And I'm like, oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, but it looks pretty good. Did you see the poster that came out? They actually have
I did.
Metallo in it as well, and he looks exactly like comic Metallo, like a Terminator with a kryptonite heart.
Nice. See, I think this is going to be really good because I remember we weren't so hot on the Dominators one. Like it was fine, but it really dipped in the middle around the Arrow episode.
Yep.
It kind of got hijacked by the fact that Arrow episode was also an anniversary episode for
Mm-hmm.
Arrow. So God help you if, like us, you don't watch Arrow or don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of derailed the whole thing. But yeah, I have high hopes for Earth X, especially now that Legends has gotten so much better. I'm totally stoked for it to be basically the final part.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah, I'm totally on board for this one, and we'll give our thoughts on that next week probably.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of TV, freaking Runaways started too, and it's not getting like any press or anyone really talking about it because it came out around the same time as Justice League and the Punisher.
It should be because I watched the first 3 episodes and it's really good.
Is it?
It's
I will check it out.
nicely paced.
That's good. I mean, I want it to do good because I want more Marvel shows on Hulu.
Yeah, yeah, it's really good. What's Cloak and Dagger coming out on? That's not on Hulu, is it?
No, that's Freeform, which is
No,
like a
okay.
weird Christian-y network, which I'm
Okay.
even more excited to see how the hell they're going to tackle a superhero show on a weird, like, Christian network.
Yeah, so especially Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah. Hey, kids, and the real power was Jesus all along.
Yeah, and
That's the real
they got
superpower.
it from cocaine.
Hey, kids, did you know Jesus was the original Amazing Man? I think that's Amazing Spider-Man there, Padre. No, 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 just Amazing Man. He was an Omega level mutant. He had all the powers. Some say he was a Mary Sue character, but I say that's bullshit. Personally, I'm a fan of post-crisis Jesus myself. They really nerfed his powers after Flashpoint, that son of God. And the costume, I did not like post-crisis Jesus's costume.
Had too many lines in it and looked like armor.
I know, right? It's like he's the son of God. He's basically immortal. Only the spear of destiny can pierce him. Why does he need armored robes? Was dumb. Man, can you tell I went to Catholic school? Can you tell that they hit me with the theology stick once or twice? And moving on from that possibly sacrilegious little aside, we have some X-Men news. Haven't talked about this in a bit, but apparently in the new upcoming X-Men movie, Dark Phoenix, they will kill off a major character.
It'll be Mystique.
Yeah, Jennifer Lawrence wants out, so yeah, probably.
Yeah, it'll have to be her. It can't be anyone else.
Won't that fuck up the timeline, though, or do they just not care about the time?
I don't think they care anymore. These new movies are like the beginning of their new timeline.
It's true. I like they said we'll kill off a major character. I'm like, is anyone a major character in these films who's not Jennifer Lawrence, Fassbender, or Professor X?
Yeah, and they can't kill off Professor X or Magneto.
No. I was gonna say, will they kill off like what is it, Jean Grey? Will that be their cop out? It's like, well, we told you we'd kill off a major character, and by the end, she's not here anymore.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, maybe it's like one of those like semantics things where it's like the Dark Phoenix takes over Jean's body and says, "Oh, we killed her off. See, you guys, we did it."
It was a spiritual death. You have to understand.
Yeah.
She died in spirit and she wasn't around anymore. Which actually, that would seem like a stupid idea now to kill her off in this movie when they're bringing Phoenix back in the comics.
Yeah, yeah.
And let's face it, probably the only reason they're bringing Phoenix back in the comics now is to coincide with this movie, even though the two studios don't get along.
Yeah, that's all they're doing.
It's so weird with the X-Men where it's like, look, we don't like it because another studio owns it and we're going to go out of our way to make sure we never move the universe past a certain point. But also we want to be familiar enough to new comic readers. So let's have an old Wolverine in time for Logan, and let's have the Phoenix come back in time for this.
Yeah, and now that the old Logan's dead, let's have the original one come back for maybe when a new actor starts playing him.
Yeah, we're future-proofing it is what we're doing, Matt. I'm sure they'll have to get someone new to play him at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Dark Phoenix could be good, could be bad. I was not a fan of Apocalypse, but it feels like every other X-Men movie is the good one now.
Yeah, it's a very weird series.
It is, because, it's like, even though I wasn't on board with the last one, the fact that they play so fast and loose with continuity and tone and everything, they could throw that all out the window and we could be like in a year's time being like, man, Dark Phoenix was actually pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, maybe if some of that Logan or Deadpool or Gifted mojo starts rubbing off on it, maybe.
They could Legends it.
They could. They really could, where it becomes totally self-aware and all the young mutants are like, man, doesn't it feel like we never get involved in anything? Doesn't it feel like all the not screen time keeps getting stolen from us? You know what, Professor X, we're tired of your bullshit. We're not going to let you put us in the corner anymore. We're the future of the X-Men school, not franchise. I don't know what that is. We're the future, and we're taking over.
Which one comes first, Dark Phoenix or New Mutants?
Well, we got the trailer for New Mutants, so I'm guessing New Mutants comes first.
Okay, yeah, so that one might be good, and New Mutants might be crap, or it might be the other way around.
It could be. Then again, it seems like the spin-offs to the X-Men stuff have been really good recently, like Logan, like Gifted, like Deadpool, but it's the main series that they can't seem to get right. Oh, even Legion. I'll throw Legion in there, too.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing that, like, what should be the A flagship series isn't hitting it, but all the side stuff is.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it goes to show us that, there's still life in this franchise and these characters, and, they're not quite beating a dead horse yet.
Yeah, yet.
Yes, the emphasis on yet. Now, moving on from here, we have another piece of news, kind of a sad piece of news, too, but something worth talking about. DC REBIRTH, ever since it started, it's been a runaway success, both critically and financially. I don't think I'm telling tales out of school saying that. Just recently, they had to cancel their first book. It was Superwoman, which was surprising.
Well, I think that story's coming to an end anyway. I've been reading it, and it seems like it's coming to a conclusion.
It had run its course. It was interesting. They did a nice little swerve in the beginning by making us think it was going to be about one character, but it was actually about the other.
Yeah, I like that.
That was nice. That was clever. It got to add to the overall mosaic that is the new Superman family of books where they were actually important and prominent again. But this week, we find out that there's actually going to be a second casualty now, only the second. And again, I don't think it's going to blow anyone's mind when I say it's Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
This is like the fourth or fifth time Blue Beetle's been canceled now.
I don't think, people say they're interested in him, but, his comic wouldn't be cancelled if they were.
People really like that first Keith Giffen one. That's the one I like. It's the one I fell in love with. And it's the one they just can't seem to recapture no matter how hard they try. The fact is, people don't want a new Blue Beetle. They just want a continuation of that. But they're not giving us a continuation of that, though. They keep trying to reinvent the wheel like they did in New 52, where it's like, well, we'll retell that story, but a little differently.
Yeah. I don't either. Probably don't know what to do with the character.
Well, they don't, because this new Blue Beetle, it's like, hey, did we say that he was powered by aliens and it was all science fiction and everything? Well, our space and our science fiction is pretty much taken over by Green Lantern at the moment, but we don't have a lot of magic books, so maybe we actually do a fun little retcon and we take stuff back to the Silver Age and say that Blue Beetle is powered by magic again, so that way he can hang out with Ted Kord and he can hang out with Dr. Fate and everything. Would you like that? Apparently, you didn't like it enough.
No, that was like one of the threads in the DC Rebirth special, and
yes,
it didn't really go anywhere. Well, it kind of did with Dr. Fate showing that, like the proper Dr. Fate and everything, but that's pretty much about it. I'm sure there'll be someone in the comments that has read every issue.
Oh, I'm sure.
A million times will correct us, but yeah,
didn't seem like I actually
went anywhere important.
No, and that's such a shame too, and much like I said, like I was a fan of the old Blue Beetle. I picked up that first issue and I'm like, oh, you're not really continuing what I like. Again, you're kind of reinventing the wheel over here, and you're also making it impenetrable for new readers because Keith Given's also like, but you know who all these characters are, right? So I don't have to reintroduce any of them. Because it's my baby and that's the thing, and I'll just keep running with it and assume you know what's up. And I'm like, no, you really can't assume we know what's up. It's one of those cases where they tried to please everybody and ended up pleasing nobody.
Yeah.
Which is really sad because I like Jaime as a character. I thought he was awesome on Young Justice. I think he's awesome in Injustice and other places that he shows up. It's sad he can't keep a book.
Yeah, he's a really cool character.
He is. Again, I keep saying they need to make a book out of a bunch of characters who can't sell books on their own. So you need Static and Blue Beetle and Martian Manhunter and Shazam and like Batwing and Talon all together on a team, and they'll be like, the unsellables. They'll be the guys who can't hold up a book on their own. Heck, throw my boy Jonah Hex in there too. I know it's true. Throw him in there too, and just like, or call them the Cult or something, because hey, it's just a bunch of cult characters. Get Kamandi at Earth's End in there. Who are some cultish female characters who can never hold a book for very long? I guess Superwoman now.
Yeah, I guess Superwoman. Get Nubia, the Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, Nubia is cool. Again, great concept, but can't hold up a book on her own.
I only remember her because she was in the most recent Injustice 2 arc.
Oh, holy shit, was she? Man, Injustice is going deep. They're doing deep cuts now.
They are.
No wonder that shit's so popular, where it's like, hey, is this your first comic? Have you never read this stuff before? Guess what? Here, let's introduce you to some crazy shit. Here's the African Wonder Woman Nubia. No, it's a real thing. Go read about it on the wikis. It's true. But yeah, that's Blue Beetle. Poor Blue Beetle. Pour 40 out on the curb for him. He had a chance. How can Blue Beetle go to the Dark Universe? Can he get another book and a new imprint, or have him join one of those teams?
That'd be pretty cool.
Can he join the Terrifics? Because again, the Terrifics similarly made up of characters everyone likes but who can't hold a book. Metamorpho, Mr. Terrific, Plastic Man, Phantom Girl.
That'd be pretty cool.
That's fine. Have him be the Herbie the Robot. Have him join the team.
He could be the guy who sits in the chair.
Exactly. He can be the chair guy. Exactly. He's like, oh, well, I've hooked my Scarab up to your computer system, and now I can give you tactical advice from here.
Yeah, but Blue Beetle, I thought the Scarab was magical. It's not anymore.
It's not. We changed it back. It keeps going back and forth. Turns out the conspiracy we thought to make me think it was alien technology when it was secretly magic was itself an even bigger conspiracy by even bigger aliens to make me not think it was alien technology.
It's a Tuesday, so on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, it's technologically. Every other day, it's magical.
Or they'll split the difference and be like, nah, there was actually two Scarabs, one that was magic and one that was alien technology, and you thought you had one, but you actually had the other. Just to really convolute the Blue Beetle history, which is already kind of complex as it is, because it's like, well, you had three from three different eras, and they were all powered by different stuff. Yeah, that'll be the thing. Eventually, Jaime will be just like Ted Kord and be like, oh, I don't even have a Scarab anymore. Now I just build stuff. Hey, this is fitting all this Blue Beetle talk because obviously I think a lot of people remember his Charleston counterpart and his Watchmen counterpart just as well. So hey, we're going to be talking about that when we talk about Doomsday Clock.
Ooh, are we ever?
We are, and we're only one news story basically from getting there because the next thing we're going to talk about, and I can't believe we didn't talk about this last week, but Harley Quinn is going to be getting her own animated series on that upcoming DC digital app.
Doesn't surprise me.
Doesn't Not only does it not surprise me, I'm shocked it didn't happen sooner.
Well, it probably was going to, but they had to find out what they were going to do with it or something.
I guess, yeah. Like, I think Paul Dini said back in the day that he had kicked around the idea that, like, he had sent a spec script to WB back, like, after she got super popular on Batman the Animated Series, and they're like, oh, we want more.
Mm-hmm.
My big question is if they're doing one. I know they were floating around the idea that maybe Margot Robbie would actually be involved in this, and like it's part of a bigger multimedia push for Harley, so they want her to be the voice and everything. I would really hope that, or I would not hope, but I would be interested who they're going to get to voice her, because there's been like several different Harleys now.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe bring back Arlene Sorkin.
I think she's retired is the problem. I think she's like, I'm too old now.
Yeah.
Which is a crying shame because it's like you never forget your first, and she's always been so good.
Yeah. Who voiced her in Injustice 2?
Tara Strong, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe bring back her.
It's probably going to be Tara Strong because she holds down basically every role she does like that. It's gotten to the point now where we've probably heard Tara Strong as Harley almost as much as we've heard Arlene Sorkin from across the video games and cartoons and everything else.
Yeah, that's true.
My one problem with Tara Strong, and I think I mentioned this on Twitter once or twice. Actually, no, I think I've been afraid to mention it on Twitter because I was afraid she would find it. It's that as much as I love Tara Strong, and don't get me wrong, I do. She's Canadian like me. She's a national treasure and just a universal treasure. If you've been watching Justice League Action, and you should because it's really funny and really well done, and it's a shame that got canceled. But in the last couple episodes where Harley has appeared, it's clear Tara Strong just doesn't give a fuck anymore and trying to make Harley sound like Arlene Sorkin at all.
Really?
Yeah, in the last couple episodes, Harley has just sounded like Bubbles, and I'm like, oh, you've reverted to your Powerpuff Girls voice, huh? You just didn't care anymore, and no one was willing to check you on it. That's unfortunate because it's like early on, like you go back to like Arkham City, and it's very difficult to tell the difference between Tara Strong and Arlene Sorkin. She's like trying really hard to capture that voice, but it's like she's just gotten like a little lazier and lazier as time has gone on. And now we just have one where it feels like she's not trying. Credit where credit is due. I quite enjoyed Hayden Welch from Assault on Arkham.
Oh, is that who voiced the in there?
That was Hayden Welch. I thought she actually did a pretty good job. It wasn't quite an impression, but it was kind of like if this character was sort of realish, she might sound like this.
Yeah, that was a really good one. It's much better than that one we got in that Batman and Harley Quinn movie.
Yeah, with the Big Bang Theory lady. Yeah, that one was grating.
Oh, terrible.
That one was especially grating because it's like, wait, aren't you like from the part of the world that like the Harley voice is riffing on, and you still make it sound terrible?
Yeah, you do an impression of your own voice, and it sounds really weird.
Yeah, like a weird Flanderized Fran Drescher where it's like, oh god, it hurts and it's grating. Now, I wonder, too, for the Harley Quinn show, are they going to go serious? Are they going to go full comedic? I know there's supposed to be a Deadpool show coming out probably around the same time from AMC. Is the Harley show going to be adult? Or are they going to try and skew for all ages? I wonder.
They'll probably skew for all ages. Then they can put it on Cartoon Network in syndication in just
I guess,
bulk.
yeah. That's a good question about this DC digital app where it's like, will you ever see these shows anywhere else, or will they forever live on this app? Because we're getting this and we're getting Young Justice.
They can't just live on the app. They'll die out really quickly.
That it does kind of seem to be the thing, doesn't it? Unless you're Netflix, and even then.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, Netflix has a lot to offer, but what's the DC app got? That and, like, a Titan show, maybe.
and Young Justice, and that's it. Although
Yeah.
I do like the idea that they are trying new, different experimental content. I hope we will end up seeing some shows and some series on there that we wouldn't see on television.
I would like, and I was actually talking with people about this, I would like a workplace, not The Office sort of thing, but think Aaron Sorkin's Newsroom, but with the Daily Planet.
Ooh, that'd be good.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool.
It'd be like Powers, but not shitty.
Yeah.
It'd be like Powers, but like serious, and like, what would it actually be like being a regular everyday Joe in a world filled with superheroes?
Yeah.
Hell, if Matt gets his Daily Planet show, I want an actual GCPD series, not Gotham. I want like real actual GCPD the way it was supposed to be.
It's a kind of like Law and Order-ish sort of thing.
Yeah, like Law and Order, like not even Law and Order, because there wasn't even so much of like an emphasis on solving crimes in Gotham Central. It was more like NYPD Blue, like the lives of the cops and everything, and like what their home lives were like and everything.
Okay, yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
And hey, here's the thing: you could make it about Renee Montoya and Crispus Allen. Because, like, again, I don't watch Gotham. They showed up in the first season, and then never again did they just abandon them. Because if so, that can be their show.
They went off to a better show.
They went off to. I'd be fine with that. Remember that Gotham season 1? It's like, hey, it's Renee Montoya and Crispus Allen. The characters from Gotham Central that you would actually want to follow.
Yeah, they're sub-characters that appeared for a couple of episodes.
I like in the term of, like, in cop show terms, they turn them into the other team, because like in every cop show and movie there's always the other team of cops.
Yeah, the rivals.
Yeah, how hilarious is that? They become the rival other team in what was supposed to be their story. That's so hilarious. But yeah, everyone, that's Harley talk, everyone. Overall pretty positive about it. I'll be interested to see where it goes. I mean, I'm just such a fan sucker for animation. I'll watch anything. I'll give anything a try once or twice. Shit, I watched that The Jellies show from what is it? That rapper turned cartoonist for Adult Swim just recently.
That's like a job resume you never hear. I'm a rapper turned cartoonist.
Yeah, I'm a rapper turned cartoon. Oh god, he's not Chance the rapper. Tyler the Creator. That's the one.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's his new show. He won me over super big because he had a New York Comic-Con panel where he talked about like all the shows with great black protagonists that got canceled before their time. So he talked about Static Shock. He talked about Fillmore. He talked about all these shows. I'm like, yeah, those shows were great. They did get canceled before their time. And he's like, yeah, and I'm going to make my own show. And Cornell Jelly, he's not going to be rapping. He's not going to be riding a skateboard. No, he's not going to have his hat on backwards. He's going to be a goober, and you're going to love him. And indeed, he is a goober, and he's voiced by Phil Lamar.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they released like the first 5 episodes of it. I didn't know if I thought it was hilarious, but it shows potential.
Oh, that's cool. Did I tell you Phil Lamar's becoming a regular on Supergirl?
Really?
Yeah, he's playing who's he playing? John Jones's dad.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah. He had some really cool scenes in the last episode where he's been waiting to go to the toilet for 3 weeks. He doesn't know who to ask or where it is because he's so not used to Earth technology.
That's funny. That's good for Phil Lamar too, especially because it's like, yeah, this guy was the voice of Green Lantern in the Justice League cartoon and like a million other things. That's great that he gets to do live action because he's a live action actor.
Yeah.
Comedian too. People forget Phil Lamar, before he took over the world of voice acting and everything, he was on Mad TV for years.
Mm-hmm.
During like the best tenure of that show. Shit, he's the guy who gets shot in the head in Pulp Fiction. Spoiler for Pulp Fiction, everyone. I know it's almost like a 30-year-old movie, but spoiler for Pulp Fiction. If you see Phil Lamar, don't get excited. He's not in it too long. And yeah, I think with spoiling Pulp Fiction, everyone, we get to the main event of the show this week, which is, of course, what we read this week. And it was a big old week held down mainly by the Doomsday Clock. Matt, what did you think of the Doomsday Clock?
Oh, Doomsday Clock, I tell you, it's pretty good. I picked up a physical issue, and I don't know whether you've seen the physical issues, but they're really nice. They're like got a nice thick cover, so it doesn't feel like a normal comic book papery sort of thing. It everything looks really nice in it. You get a cool like, it's like a newspaper thing at the end of it, which is really cool.
I saw that, yeah.
But yeah, the book was surprisingly restrained.
Very.
For a first issue, but we still got loads and loads of information.
We did. It's one of those things where going into it, I'm like, I have no idea what Doomsday Clock is supposed to be, what it's going to be. And indeed, they played it very close to the chest when it was coming out, you know, even the deadlines they had and, you know, like the embargoes where, you know, like friggin' Rich Johnson of Bleeding Cool didn't spoil it 2 weeks out.
I suppose he was probably pretty mad at that.
I'm sure he was. But yeah, to think that when I opened this up, I didn't know what I was expecting, but I really wasn't expecting, hey, here's just a straight up sequel to Watchmen. Here's what would have happened a decade after the events of Watchmen.
Yeah, and it's pretty bleak what happens.
It's bleak, but it's also incredibly believable. It's basically everything that Dr. Manhattan told Ozymandias turns out to be true when he's like, look, you built your piece on a lie. Yeah, everyone's super happy and buddy-buddy now, but nothing lasts forever, Adrian. Nothing lasts forever.
Yeah, and that piece does break down in 1992? 91?
Yep. It was 92, yeah.
Yeah, that on the date of the death of Superman.
Which is a really clever that's such a Jeff Johns touch is what that is.
The comic even came out on the anniversary of the death of Superman.
Because again, in the history of the Watchmen, instead of Action Comics coming out and becoming a big deal, real superheroes came out and became a big deal in the history of the Watchmen.
Yep.
So to kind of turn that to be like, oh, well, the day Hope died in the DC universe, the day that Superman died, obviously that's the day the piece comes unfurled.
Yep. And yeah, it was pretty cool. We get introduced to Rorschach again, who I know people went crazy when we got that little preview with him in it. And they quickly say that no, this isn't Walter Kovacs. This is someone else. This is an African American Rorschach.
A Rorschach who's not nearly as mean or psychotic as the old Rorschach was. This guy actually does bargaining and is actually willing to meet people halfway.
He does that, but then later on in the issue, Ozymandias says that he might be a little bit more violent than Rorschach. He doesn't have those morals that Rorschach had, those kind of shaky morals that he had. Which
is interesting, and I'm dying to know more about.
Yep.
Something a fan had to point out for me, I totally didn't catch this. The president in 1992 who managed to sweep into office on an anti-superhero, anti-Ozymandias ticket, his name is President Redford, as in Robert Redford, as in the evil, political guy from Captain America Winter Soldier. Oh my God, President Hydra. I totally didn't put that together. I'm like, oh my God, you're right, President Redford, as in President Robert Redford. That's really smart. That's a really good joke, which again, hey, a lot of political commentary going on in this issue, much like the original Watchmen had a lot of political commentary going in on it. Fittingly, too, in both stories, Russia is acting a fool, and the threat of nuclear war is higher now than it ever was.
Yeah, much like how it is in real life.
Yeah, it's crazy to see all the pulled from the headline shit they're doing. It's like, wow, this alternate 1992 might as well just be 2017. And yet, weirdly still, all the same, crybabies who complain when, Marvel did Secret Empire, whenever they do rip from the headline story. No one was crying about this. You notice that? Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
They even turned a hero who used to be a white guy into a black guy, and all those people weren't complaining.
No. And I saw some people complain mainly because it's not Rorschach, it's
of course.
not going to have Walter Kovacs beating up Superman or Batman or something.
But it wasn't twinged with that very off-putting clear racism that's normally in there.
Yeah.
That's funny. It's almost like people were just waiting to dogpile on Marvel for something.
Yeah.
It's great too that literally this whole issue is a Watchmen story. It only goes into the DC universe right at the very end.
And I was actually thinking about this. I hope they do this whereas like the first issue is all Watchmen leads into DC, so the next issue will be DC which leads into Watchmen, and then every issues 1, 3 5 will be Watchmen, and issues 2, 4, 6 will be DC, and so on and so forth. That'd be pretty cool.
They also potentially seek to answer a question in this issue that you and I here at the Comic Multiverse have been going on about forever, and that is, hey, why if they put everything in Superman's life back, if they made him a good guy again, if they made him the older version everyone loved and remembered, why did they never bring back his parents?
Because God has a plan.
Because God has a plan, and they seek to imply in this issue that the reason the DC universe got so dark and moody for so long in the New 52 and why everyone was miserable, you can relate that all back to the night the Kents died, and they make a very strong point of saying the Kents died because Dr. Manhattan willed it so.
Yeah. I actually had a worry, whereas when we were seeing that, I'm thinking, oh God, because that was after the Rorschach breaks Marionette and I'm blanking on the guys, Mime out of prison, who are very similar to Punch and Julie from the Batman run. Very, very similar.
Well, they're their Charleston counterparts.
Oh, are they?
Yes, they're
okay.
Much like Blue Beetle is Night Owl's Charleston counterpart. Marionette and Mime were Charleston characters.
Well, maybe that explains why on Punch's chest in the Batman thing he has a tattoo of Ozymandias' cat dog thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, so what I was really worried about when they said they were going to go out to the galaxy, find him, and it cuts to the Kents dying, I was thinking, oh God, is like Rorschach gonna get out of that truck that just ran into him?
Oh no, he didn't.
or is it Ozymandias behind it or something? But no, he's not.
Wouldn't that be fun? It was me, Superman.
I could see something like that happening if it was handled by someone not like Jeff Johns.
Exactly. I'm glad you mentioned that too. There are so many places in this story, and that was one of them, where they could have fucked up everything in issue 1, where they could have fallen down a pit, they could have tripped and stumbled, but they don't. They play it very subtle.
They do, and it works so well.
I'm glad you mentioned Mime too. I like Mime. He's quite funny.
He's pretty cool, and it's pretty obvious he's probably going to be becoming the 3rd Joker.
They seek to imply that quite heavily. He has many Joker-ass ticks to him.
They imply that, but they also imply that maybe even Adrian might as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on there, a lot of stuff to unpack. The bit that made me laugh, and I'm glad I can laugh at a story like this that's so serious and dealing with so many heady themes, where it's like, oh, Mime won't leave until he gets his weapons. They're very special weapons. They open up the evidence locker. There's nothing there. Hey, because he's a mime. That's good. That's good shit.
That is pretty good. But yeah, so like Ozymandias is back. He has brain cancer. As sort of like a payback for what he's been doing to the world. He got it probably from being around all the radiation that both John and his trap for John put out. And yeah, he's going to be... He seems to imply he's going to go out of the galaxy somehow.
Yeah.
And I theorize that maybe to get to the DC universe, they're probably going to go through the microverse. Which we learned in Justice League of America. That's how Manhattan got into the DC universe. He punched a hole in the microverse.
Interesting.
So what's even could be following him into it.
We did our brief little summary of important things leading up to Doomsday Clock. Someone actually mentioned something that I totally missed, but supposedly in that Batman Beyond comic I hated so much, where it's like, Tim Drake from the Futures End future went even further in the future and became the Batman Beyond and everything there. You know how they got rid of him, apparently?
How?
Big blue light came down and took him away.
Oh, God.
So he was even fucking around with Batman Beyond, which is interesting. It's like, wow, he's really got a boner out for Tim Drake, doesn't he? And he has a real boner out for putting things back the way they're supposed to be.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm like, well, I almost wish I read that now, because that's actually kind of interesting.
Yeah, that does seem very interesting.
I'm like, that's actually kind of compelling, and also further strengthens the idea of, like, why is Tim Drake so important?
Yeah.
Because Tim Drake can apparently exist omnipresently in past, present, and future. Tim Drake breaks the rules of time, and Dr. Manhattan doesn't like that. Only I'm allowed to see all things at once. What are some other fun things about it? I mean, yeah, it was really just kind of a straightforward issue, all things considered, but it was like really good in how straightforward it was.
Yeah, it didn't bog down with any like time travel, multi-universal stuff or anything. It just kind of put it, Rorschach breaks these guys out of prison because they need Marionette's help to go find John, and then cut to Superman having a nightmare.
I appreciate too that Johns' writing is reminiscent of Alan Moore in the old Watchmen, but not beholden to it.
No, it's all new, and I think it's because most of these characters are new. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not Alan Moore creations, except for Ozymandias. He's like the only Watchmen character that we've had so far that has been talking. That
probably helps a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, Rorschach still speaks in his sentence fragments, but that's like more of a tick than anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Doomsday Clock, solid. Don't know really what else to say about it besides that, it's solid.
Yeah, and the way the issue ends, you don't know where it's going to go from here. Like,
no,
what's
you
going to
really
happen?
don't. It could go anywhere, and the fact that, we're basically going to be reading this one for the next year, because this is like issue 1 of 12.
Yeah, and I think it's a monthly series, so the next issue comes out, I guess, December.
Oh, holy shit. Oh, we'll be ready for that one for sure.
Yeah.
I guess what else did we read this week of note? Because there were some other fairly big books as well.
Ozefek got a prologue in Action Comics 992.
It sure did. It's a nice little breather issue, and also one that goes about setting up what the next big arc is going to be for Superman.
Yeah, I like that. We got a Superman who he kind of refuses to believe what he's been seeing.
It's an interesting take on Superman. You never usually see Superman this just stubborn and this just unable to accept anything.
Yeah, and it kind of makes sense because this is his father. This is the guy he's wearing the symbol for, the House of L symbol on his chest and everything, and to see the guy and see him not be all he's cracked up to be and be kind of a villain.
A guy for whom he's built his whole moral code on the back of. The only person more important would be Pa Kent.
Yeah, and that kind of calls that moral code and like who he is as a person into question, and who his son is into question.
Yeah, it's am I living a lie? Will I screw up my son the way my dad screwed me up? Clearly.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, and he's going trying to find out what exactly is going on Krypton. Whether his father's story is true, and that takes him back in time millions of years to Krypton's destruction.
Via the Flash's cosmic treadmill. I'm like, oh good, they didn't forget about this.
Yeah, although it is just left in like a room in the watchtower. It's just sitting in a room.
Well, I mean, Barry, his apartment's small. He can't have a whole full treadmill in it. Be afraid Iris or someone would try and run on it. No, that's my cosmic treadmill.
Yeah, but that means Booster Gold shows up to try and help.
Because any DC time travel story worth its salt, of course, needs Booster Gold in it.
Of course, to try and not mess up, even though he will probably mess up.
In his first DC Rebirth appearance, Booster Golds, which I'm actually super excited to see how they where they take him.
It looks really fun. I've seen some of the solicitations for the next couple of issues, and I think this one goes all the way up to issue 1000. Like this story.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I guess it would have to. Especially this version of Booster Gold I want to see, because this is the book Dan Jurgens writes, and like Jurgens was writing Booster Gold back in the day.
Yeah, so I'm wondering what version it is.
Yeah, it'll be really, really interesting. Another thing, to bring it back to the dad stuff we were talking about, Batman shows up this issue, and they actually do some nice little connective tissue to Doomsday Clock, where Batman says, hey, I know what you're going through, fighting a slightly evil, twisted version of your father. The same thing happened to me and the Button. In fact, I think someone out there is fucking with us.
Yeah, they kind of realize that, and same with like when they check that Green Lantern footage, they kind of figure out that someone's kind of fucking with time a little bit.
Yeah, around them, which it's so great where he's like, play back the footage. Is this a digital simulation of Krypton exploding? Nah, man, it's actual video footage.
Yeah, from like Toma Ray's ring or something.
I'm surprised Superman's not like, man, Toma Ray, he really dropped the ball, didn't he?
Yeah, well, what could he actually do?
I know, right? It's like that's always the joke where it's like, man, if the Green Lanterns cared, they'd save the Kryptonians. But at the same time, it's like, how do you stop a whole planet from blowing up? Have you seen the DC Universe? Planets blow up all the time. We can't be everywhere at once. It's a big sector. And for them to be like, oh, someone corrupted the video footage. And I'm like, oh, geez, did Salak or Salak, whatever, not upgrade to the newest version of Norton?
Someone hacked them.
Someone used their elite hacksaw skills to break into the Green Lantern archives. Oh no, we've been rickrolled, Hal. What do we do? We're not used to memes this dank. By God, it's those stupid meme lanterns out there. In dankest day, in dankest night. Surprised no one's tried to write that one yet. But yeah, that was solid. I'm definitely totally up for a time traveling Superman adventure.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a load of fun.
Yeah. Don't know what else to say. Superman has been killing it, and that action, especially the last little bit, has just been killing it.
Yeah.
Now, what else did I read this week? Had some Superman. I guess we might as well go and talk about Detective Comics, because, that's its sister book, essentially, and it's also having a bit of a breather issue. Tim's back. He's back in the fold now.
Yeah, he's back. He's revealed himself back to Stephanie, who's very happy he's back, and kind of, sort of back on the team.
Yeah, in a way, they're playing with some interesting ideas there, where he's kind of lying to her to get her back in Batman's good graces, even though she's basically over the superhero life and kind of over Batman in a way.
Yeah, over the way he's going about his war on crime, and I guess she thinks that like maybe Tim can fix that with that Gotham Knights protocol he has.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's kind of lying to her because he's kind of made his mind up that he wants to be Batman, but not the Batman from the future that he just fought.
It's a smart bit of writing where Tim's like, look, if the future can't be changed in any meaningful way, if I'm going to be Batman, I at least want to mold and be master of my own destiny. I'm now going to throw myself 100% in trying to become Batman so we can stop this dark future from happening.
Yeah, and try and fix the mistakes that my future self made. Because he knows them now.
Exactly. It's very clever. It's a very clever concept.
Yeah.
It also gives him something to work forward to, like all the other former Robins and all the other books have something to work forward to. Tim never did. Now he does. Mm-hmm. Which I think is really, really slick and really cool. Also, too, same book, they finally replaced the mayor. I think they killed, like, Mayor Hamilton Hill all the way back in, like, the first arc of this Detective comic, so I like that they finally replaced the mayor now.
Yeah, so, like, in that time, the mayor's office just been sitting there. The government's been in disarray.
It's just been hanging open this whole time. They've had chimps at typewriters. They've just been, throwing darts at a board, and that'll be the new Gotham City policy until they can find a replacement mayor. And we have a new guy now, Atkins, who's a former Gotham cop who's not against the idea of working with Batman. He just hates the new, more militarized, more proactive Bat family that's taking place now.
And the fact that they have known criminals on their team like Clayface.
And children, that's another thing.
Yeah.
Children and criminals, that's a bad mix. You don't want to have those together. Not when you're trying to send a message that you're the good guy. Look, my child supervillain army will help everyone, I promise.
They're useful. Their little fingers are good for making the bombs.
Good for thieving is what it is. Batman, why do you use so many children? I know they're small and they can get into tight places. They're good for vigilanting. I dress them in bright, garish color so they can draw fire from me. See, I see them less as human beings and more as meat shields is the thing. And if I lose one, that's fine. There's a whole bunch of orphans out there who would love to be Robin. Oh, no, wait, did I say that out loud? Crap, I'm only supposed to think those things.
Yeah, I'll just leave my Batmobile here with no wheel on, and an orphan will come along.
Next punk who tries to steal my tire or car stereo. Hey, you want to be Robin?
He's got the box with the stick and the string waiting for it.
Oh, any minute now, any minute now. Got a live one. And Duke's like, geez, that's how he got me. Was just walking around trying to cure my Joker Venom parents, and before I knew it, I was in the box. That's how it works. This issue was fun, too, because it's probably, like, the coolest thing Killer Moth has ever done.
Yeah. I guess so.
Killer Moth gets a genius idea where it's like, well, hey, if they're beating on all the traditional organized crime families in Gotham City, if I get together a team of supervillains, I can, run a protection operation where I pay the criminal, or the criminals pay me to keep Batman busy. Isn't that super smart?
Yeah. No, not really, because it fails immediately.
It does fail, but Tim Drake says, man, this is the smartest thing Killer Moth has ever done. If he had gotten some A-list villains on his team, this might have worked.
He probably stole the idea off, like, a forum or something.
Oh, probably. I love his team where it's like, ooh, who will be this new team to strike fear into the hearts of men? Well, Killer Moth's your leader. Ooh, we also got Firefly. Which one? I don't know, one of them. The Rat Catcher. Man, the Rat Catcher always shows up to these things. It's like he's lonely. He's lonely. And Solomon Grundy. Oh, no, Zaz. Zaz is on the team.
Yeah, and Solomon Grundy, who turns out to be Clayface.
Just Clayface in disguise. What a great team there. Even if it was the real Grundy, a muscle-bound weirdo who doesn't take orders from anyone and can only speak in nursery rhymes. And an actual serial killer. Yeah, what an excellent team you put together, friggin' Killer Moth.
Hey, Craigslist, there was no one on Craigslist. These are the only people that answered.
That's what the team was. It was just a Backpages hookup. It's what it was. 35-year-old Caucasian supervillain looking for other like-minded supervillains for fun time. Firefly comes there. It's like, I thought we were gonna have a big orgy. What? You mean there's gonna be no orgy? Seriously? This is bullshit. I'm gonna delete that app. That's where he recruited all these villains from. He recruited them from Grindr. The supervillain equivalent of Grindr, whatever that would be. But yeah, Detective Comics was fun. I like this one. Tim Drake in general is getting a lot of play in all the books, isn't he, Matt?
Yeah, he is. I think he was also in Teen Titans this week or something.
He was. I know, because I just read that book before we started.
Yeah, he was going to reveal himself to the Titans that he's alive again.
Yeah, his dearest and closest friends, and Alfred's like, Sue, you gonna tell him you're alive yet? In time.
Yeah, and that's going to relate back to that big Superman arc that they get.
Absolutely, because people forget that, where it's like, yeah, Tim was technically the leader of the Teen Titans, wasn't he, before his death? And they all kind of fell apart because he died, even though their book had been canceled long before that anyway. Yeah, I guess there's going to be a bit of a power struggle between him and Damian, huh?
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
It is. I hope Damian brings up the fact that, hey, my book is actually good in selling more than your Teen Titans books ever did. Mine is actually closer to what people wanted.
Yeah, but Tim's taller, so...
And Tim is taller and older, too. God, they bust his balls so wonderfully in that one, Damian, because he's hanging out with Green Arrow's sister, Emiko. And it's like, oh, who's your girlfriend, Damian? She's not my girlfriend. God. Oh, hey, when you guys go to Homecoming, are you going to bring her a corsage, or are you going to bring her the severed head of one of your enemies? And it's true, because Benjamin Percy writes the Green Arrow book and writes the Titans book. I hope we actually do get to see them interact more. I would actually love the idea of them being this comedically mismatched couple.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
Her takeaway is great, too, where it's like, hey, you're still invited to join the Team Red Arrow. Yeah, but I'm too cool for you guys. Sorry, but I'm way too cool. Bye. She's got a touch of the Kate Bishop about her, where it's like, yeah, I'm cooler than my older counterparts. Just so slick. But yeah, that was a fun one.
That was pretty cool.
What else did you have, Matt?
Invincible Iron Man issue 594.
I read this too. You want to take point on this one?
Yeah, it wasn't very good.
No, it was kind of forgettable. It's funny when I heard that the Infamous Iron Man book and Infamous and Invincible were going to be folded over into one book. I'm like, oh, this will be cool to see them, interacting more and bouncing off each other. I really wonder how Bendis is going to make this work. And the answer is he doesn't try and make it work.
He just makes it two different stories. He like takes like both issues and like cuts pages out and just inserts them into the other.
They don't even
the art changes as well.
They don't to the infamous art style. Like, oh, you're not even pretending like this is one book.
No.
That's bullshit. And like Riri and Tony's mom and MJ, their quest is like, oh, we gotta find Dr. Doom because surely he'll help us find Tony's body, even though it's like, well, if you cared so much, why don't you go to the Avengers for help?
Yeah, why don't you go to all these people that will be interested in that?
You figure there would be like a line of like 10, 20 people who would be more willing to help you before let's go to Dr. Doom.
But no, they have to because he has an Iron Man armor as well.
There you go. He has an invested interest. Although you would think that would mean he wouldn't want to find Tony because it's like, well, no, if Tony's back, he's going to make me stop being Iron Man.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to stop.
That's probably how the story's going to go, and it's going to pit both Riri and Victor against each other.
I bet, and again, this was the Reddit rumor. This will last for an arc. This will last for a volume. Then Bendis's time is done, and then Mark Waid comes aboard, and he writes the Tony versus Victor Von Doom story.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
I mean, it's the only way the story can go. It's really the only way.
Yeah.
And then whether Riri makes it or not is up in the air.
Yeah, that's another thing. She might just be relegated back to like Champions or something.
I mean, she's not even on the Champions team right now.
They might send her to there because she's a young hero, and that's the young hero team.
Yeah, that's a place they... Heck, if they send Riri there, can you also send the other Falcon there as well? He just kind of fell off the face of the earth. Where's Joaquin at these days? Oh, what? Sam became Falcon again? Oh, well, shit, I guess I can't keep the costume then. We can't have two Falcons. Even though we have two Hawkeyes, two Spider-Mans, and two Thors, but, whatever.
Yeah.
He's respectful like that, Joaquin. But yeah, this issue was funny too because it's like, oh, who's the big villain they're gonna pit against Riri and these three women who are trying to find Tony's body? Hijack.
Yeah, that mutant no one really cares about.
The mutant that like Bendis was really interested in creating for his Uncanny run, that like he devoted a couple like strong issues to him, being like, yeah, Hijack, he's a Hispanic youth. Okay, what's his power? He steals cars. Are you sure, Bendis? Are you sure? Okay, well, he steals more than... He can steal anything with his mind.
It's a cool power, but it's not really used in the way it should be used.
Nor have they ever done a good job explaining it, where it's like, well, why is it only cars he can steal? Why is it only things with engines? Why is that a thing?
When I was reading this, like, so he can like steal, like, I guess, like, vehicles and stuff like that. So, like, why can't he just possess Riri's armor?
That's where I thought it was going. I'm like, oh, are they going to be like, oh, but the armor is technically a vehicle, so he can control it.
Yeah, it has an engine, which is the arc reactor, so he can control it.
Yeah, but they don't go what should be the interesting route.
Yeah, and then that's where you bring in Victor Von Doom to stop Riri and stop the out of control Riri.
Exactly, because he's like, oh, my suit doesn't have an arc reactor. I power it solely off magic. Try hijacking that bitch.
Exactly, except no, Victor's then beaten by the Wrecker.
Yeah, I know. Well, technically it was more than just... It was the Wrecker and like 12 other D-list villains. I do see that people had a problem with that. My thing is like, on their own, Doom could beat them without even lifting a finger, but the fact that it was like 12 of them... They got the jump on him, and they've clearly been planning to use all their unique powers to counteract what he does.
Yeah.
Where it's like, look, this is their shiniest moment. This is the best they've ever been right now. Like, even they're shocked they won. And even then, they didn't so much win as, like, Doom had to, like, pull back. And he's like, well, I'm just going to find a way to kill you all, and I'll be back. Which, that's even a joke, too, where it's like, oh, he's just teleporting them away, right? He's not killing them. Because it looks like he's killing them. No, I promise it's a teleportation spell. It's great, too, and we talked about this on Twitter with our buddy Mitch, where, we're also dealing with the fallout of the whole, evil Stark board of directors who's trying to wrestle away control of the company for, like, the 5th time this month.
Yeah.
because apparently Tony can't not hire evil people who try and steal his company out from under him. And they're like, oh, now we need to get rid of this Riri and Tony's mom and MJ, who apparently were never actually employees on paper. Like, Tony never thought to put them on paper. He's just been paying them under the table and tax-free this whole time. Which is weird because it's like, okay, yeah, that's fitting in Tony's character. He's absent-minded. He would probably forget to do that. He'd be like, yeah, I'll do it later. What's weird, though, is that this actually makes the evil, like, mustache-twirling suit guys totally in the right legally when they're like, oh, we would like you to leave the property and everything. If they had just called the police instead of hiring a mutant to attack them, they would have been in the right.
Exactly. Like, no, they just wander in and just hit him over the head with a guitar. Like, you just assaulted someone with a deadly weapon. You're going to jail.
Yeah, like freaking Quick Draw McGraw. She's like, oh, I'm going to show you how we do it in S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm going to show you how we do it in the world of rock and roll. See this guitar? I cracked Keith Moon's tooth with it. Which was badass as fuck. There's no two ways about it. That was some gangster shit. That was pretty sweet. It reminded me a lot of like the sequel to Get Shorty, where it's like, oh, you think you're cool here in the world of high finance and business and everything. You think you guys are tough. Well, guess what? I'm from the music industry, and in the music industry, we're all gangsters. But again, it's totally like, but why doesn't he just call the police then? He was just assaulted, like you said.
Well, that's the thing. Like, she called the police, he still would have been like she would have just assaulted the police.
That too, and then it wouldn't have stopped. It's like, oh, that old lady's got a guitar. What do we do? No one can stop her. She's Guitar Lady. I just thought that was so hilarious. Inconsistent is what this issue was, to boil it down. Wildly inconsistent.
Yep.
I worry about it moving forward, too, because it's like, oh, well, is there any more movement on this other Tony Stark or whoever it is in this retro armor? No.
No, it's just one page at the end of him still lying on the floor.
Just to remind you, he's still in the fetal position. Even the cover of this one was misleading because you see another iron armored person, but it's like whited out to be a big mystery.
Yeah, and you think, oh, they're gonna finally reveal it. No,
come back next week or come back next month.
Yeah, or whenever Bendis decides to tell this part of the story.
Yeah, I mean, talk about inconsistent. Same thing with Defenders from, I don't know if it was last week. Did you read Defenders from last week?
No, I actually haven't read it since like issue 5.
Well, it's good, but this one was really like, oh, yeah, Ben just knew he was leaving.
Yeah.
There's a 3-page gag because, like, Jessica Jones hires Deadpool to protect them. There's a 3-issue gag because, like, usually you open it up and it's, like, Jess saying, oh, last time on Defenders, or, like, this is the story of Defenders.
Yeah.
Deadpool takes 3 pages to say absolutely nothing, and that's the joke. And he says there, and like, no, this doesn't count to your full 21 page or 22 pages, everybody. So don't go crying on Reddit or anything. And I'm like, wow, this was a man who stopped giving a fuck.
Yeah, you could tell that this was the week where, when he wrote these books, a couple of months ago maybe, that this is that week when he was writing that he got the call from DC and was like, hey, do you want a job here? And then he just like shut down all the work and just didn't give a fuck.
The ink was dry, and he's like, hey, guess what? I'm going to give even less of a fuck than I was before. Guess what, everybody? Oh, apparently, too, someone told me Hijack is actually in that, like, New Mutants book with Jubilee, so he shouldn't even be there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so apparently that was another Bendis don't give a fuck about your continuity. He invented this character, and he'll do whatever he wants with him.
Honey Bendis don't give a fuck.
Honey Bendis don't give a fuck. He could not give less of a fuck. He's not even working for Mar-Vell anymore. That's how many fucks he didn't give. When he put in like his 2 weeks notice, he gave like his 2 fucks as well. These are my last 2 fucks. I'm giving them in. I am officially out. I have 0 left. There are no more. Yeah. What else was this week too? I feel like I'm so far behind, and I'm doing a messed up thing where I'm putting new books next to old books as well, so I can fully catch up.
Yeah, I'm doing that as well.
We both read Nightwing New Order.
Mm-hmm. That was a good issue.
It was good. I like the makeup of the Teen Titans, or just Titans. They're not teens anymore. Of this, like dark alternate future.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same as like the normal Teen Titans, but with a Lois Lane Blue Lantern.
What a cool idea to make Lois a Blue Hope Lantern. That's really well done.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Because Superman represents hope, and in a world where seemingly Superman is gone, Lois must become the symbol of hope.
Yep.
Gotta keep it alive. A Beast Boy who lost his powers halfway through transforming, so now he looks like a Thundercat.
Yeah, he looks pretty cool.
Cyborg, who's back on the Titans team. I like all it took was an Elseworlds for Cyborg to be a Titan again. And didn't it fit? Didn't it just feel right for him to be a Titan?
It did.
Even though he's old as shit, although Wally's old as shit too.
Yeah. And then we got
Starfire.
Someone
told me with his crazy red hair, Wally actually looked like Walter Kovacs from Watchmen.
Oh, it's him. He's now the Flash of this alternate timeline.
Oh my God! Someone gave Rorschach the Speed Force. Everybody down. That's terrifying. Starfire, who I'm like, what's up with all this Mass Effect armor? I didn't think, oh yeah, she lost her powers. She needs to augment with like guns and shit now to actually get the job done.
Yeah, she doesn't have her powers anymore.
Which is fitting. And I like, too, even though it's an Elseworld story, Kyle Higgins clearly does his homework and actually, mentions the origin of Starfire and the Titans and say, Dick, I loved you once, but you've turned the world into a police state, not unlike the evil alien race I was sold to as a child.
Yeah, and that's sort of like the catalyst for Dick to turn to the, and that's what I really like about this. He didn't just immediately become part of the resistance. He was still I'll help you, but we're still keeping this world as it is. We're still keeping this meta-human crusader thing going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had to go through a lot to come out the other side. It was very well done in that regard.
Yeah, and the other side is visiting Mr. Freeze's lab.
I love that, where it's like, oh, who did the Crusaders put in charge of this, inoculation program? Who's really smart and who's Gotham-based? Oh, Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, and he looks really cool as well. His design looks awesome.
He looks like, one of the frickin' Centabites. He's got, a big, long giraffe neck now and everything.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
He's got a bunch of upgrades. That's a final level boss if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, well, we've only got 2 issues left of this book.
Yeah. Also, I like, too, with what little we see of Kate Kane. She's the villain, but she's not really the villain.
Yeah, she's an unknowingly being a villain.
Yeah, she's the unknowing antagonist, where it's like, they make a solid point of showing that she's not a monster, and she is trying to actually help out Dick's son what little she can.
Yeah, but she doesn't realize that helping him sends him to Mr. Freeze and just awful, terrible Terror Lab.
Yeah, to get friggin' cryoed, which it's that also makes sense. They're saying all the metas they can't control they put in cryo sleep. Well, who's an expert on cryo sleep?
Yeah, yep.
Some might say he's the leading mind in his field, as messed up as that is. I'd love to be there for that conversation. Hey, Mr. Freeze, you want to, make shit for us? Okay. Can I have some cool upgrades?
Sure.
Can I have an awesome giraffe neck that makes me look like a Centipede? I mean, if you want. I mean, not everyone asks for that, but I mean, sure, why not?
I've always wanted a neck.
I've always wanted it. Yeah, I guess in all of his costumes, it never looks like he has a neck, does it? I have neck envy. I really want to accentuate my neck for the first time ever. Man, was that it for this week? Because there's a bunch I still haven't read. I haven't read Nightwing from last week. I haven't read the new Champions crossover, nor have I read Miss Marvel. Heck, I have all the issues of Bats Out of Hell, and I haven't even read that yet.
Oh, you got to read that.
I'm going to. Apparently, it's quite important, and we've got a lull in the Dark Knight's Metal for a bit.
We do. We haven't had an actual issue for it for a while now.
It's been a while, yeah.
Yeah. That's those delays.
It's crazy to think that Doomsday Clock just started and we're still in the middle of Dark Knight's Metal, and yet that's not a problem.
No, it doesn't feel like a problem.
Because they're such 2 totally different events on 2 totally different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, and ends of the spectrum and ends of the timeline as well.
Mm-hmm. Also, Doomsday Clock has no tie-ins so far.
Yeah, I don't think it will.
I don't think it will either, but they could always just spring that on us out of nowhere. Oh yeah, no tie-ins. I think if there are going to be tie-ins, they're going to be handled very organically, like what we saw in Action Comics, where Batman's like, hey, I think someone's fucking with us.
Yeah, I think that's probably all we're going to be getting, and it'll have like the little stars saying, read Doomsday Clock issue 5 or something.
Heck, I mean, basically all of DC Rebirth up until now has been one giant tie-in for Doomsday Clock.
That's true. That's true.
Every time we saw a blue hand, every time someone disappeared, boom, that was your tie-in. That was it. You read it. You read it and you didn't even know you were reading it. Which is probably the best part about this one as well. Like, you could follow every breadcrumb trail and be really excited for Doomsday Clock, or you could have read none of it and it didn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to think that an event like that is so, think so much of the reader to be like, hey, Watchmen is basically the Citizen Kane of comics. We're pretty sure you read it, but if you haven't, maybe you should.
Yeah, it's required reading.
Mm-hmm. Or at the very least, or at the very least, we hope you saw the movie.
Yeah.
If nothing else. But it's different, though. Don't expect it to be exactly the same. So, yeah, I mean, on that regard, can we basically bring the show to a closer? I mean, that's pretty much everything for me. Do you have anything else?
No, that's pretty much it all.
All right, then. So, yeah, that was your Doomsday Clock extravaganza, everybody. We hope you enjoyed it as much as Matt and I enjoyed bringing it to you. As always, if you're a patron, you'll get to listen to this show first before anyone else, and you can do so for as little as $1 a month. It's much appreciated for Matt and myself.
Yep, and you'll also get the video edition of this so you can watch us before anyone else.
Absolutely. A lot of you are enjoying the video version of this show. The retention is way up, and we certainly appreciate that. As always, too, with the holiday season coming up, you're probably going to be wanting to buy some books either for yourself or for all those important people in your life. Matt and I both, down in the description of the video, have book depository links. If you use those, not only will you get an amazing deal and not pay a cent for shipping and handling, but a small percentage of everything you buy goes to support me and Matt.
Yep, and that I know for a fact that Book Depository are having massive sales on at the moment because I just bought a bunch of stuff.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, yes, they are. Now is the time to get on in there and get yourself something good.
Yeah, I also have a TeePublic store. I know Joel does as well.
Yes.
We both got a bunch of different designs going up. I've got more designs coming on mine as well, just original stuff that isn't comic multiverse related. Comic multiverse related stuff goes on Joel's.
Yes.
And
Matt's made some killer designs.
I think also at the moment they're doing some, Black Friday, Cyber Monday deal or anything. Everything's like real cheap there at the moment. So go pick yourself up a shirt.
Yes, I was sure to get myself some Black Friday stuff there. I got myself an Elite Jacket patch that I've been looking at for the longest time. Now I have to learn how to sew shit. I'll just put it on with spit and hope it stays.
Sticky tape, duct tape it on.
There you go. It's like that bit in Simpsons where it's like, hey, can you, Miss Simpsons, can you sew this logo back on? I tried spitting on it, but it just wouldn't stay. And with that, everyone, that'll just about do it for the show this week. Again, thank you so much for watching and listening. And Matt and I will be back again next week, Wednesday, 8 a.m. for everyone, or 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for everyone who's not a patron. If you are a patron, you could be listening to it right now, which is Sunday around 11:30.
There you go.
Yeah. So bye, everybody.
See ya.
Bye-bye.